everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is Editor-in-Chief of AMC Movie Talk, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here is Senior Editor of AMC Movie News, Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hello, Governor.
What?
And also here is AMC's very own Christian Harloff.
Hello to you.
In a recent interview with Deadline, James Cameron, the filmmaker behind the original Terminator films, revealed some advice he gave to the producers of the upcoming new Terminator Genisys movie regarding how they can use a 67-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cameron said the following: "I pointed out that the outer covering of the Terminator was actually not synthetic, that it was organic and therefore could age. You could theoretically have a Terminator that was sent back in time, missed his target, and ended up just kind of living on in society. Because he is a learning computer and has a brain as a central processor, he could actually become more human as he went along without getting discovered." John, what do you think of Cameron's comments?
I love his comments, as a matter of fact, because honestly, that's been one of the biggest questions in my head is like, okay, so is Arnold like the guy who designed the original T units and it's just modeled after him and now he's an old scientist? I love what Cameron's proposing here, that he's actually a Terminator. Now, once again, just because he's talking about advice he gave to the guys long before they developed the film doesn't necessarily mean that's what they're doing, okay? So be clear about that. But if that is the route they're going, I'm excited about it. I think that sounds like really fascinating. A Terminator that's actually been around in human society for 40 years or 30 years, and his, external skin has been aging like a... I think that sounds great, so I'd be on board for it, Christian.
I'm too, and I actually think that they are going this route because even before Cameron made these comments, I'd heard this a while ago. I forget where it came from, but I think that it was the fact that Arnold will be doing this as an aging Terminator. So what's his purpose? So whatever the new mission is, when they find him, they kind of get him back online, if you will. So yeah, I dig it, and to hear Cameron kind of confirm it now makes it seem like that is the route they're going to go. That's super exciting, and it makes a little bit more sense of it. I'm still concerned about the PG-13. I wish that Cameron would come back so he'd be like, enough of this PG-13 nonsense. Let's get to the R. But as long as he's endorsing it, but I think he kind of had something to not to do, but lent his thoughts to McGee last time, and that didn't work out great.
Amy Rose?
Don't leave me hanging. Where's my Arnold impersonation?
Oh, no.
you can massage it. Wait for it.
Yeah.
I'm very enthusiastic about this as well. I love that Cameron was just like, guys, this is the mythology. You can do it this way. I think it makes a lot of sense because, Arnold is getting up there. Even though he's in amazing shape, I think that would be fun, watching this Terminator join society come out of the woodworks. I think that makes a really, I'm also worried about PG-13. I know that they can push that these days a lot more than they used to, but these are not the kind of films that I don't want to, that I want to be in that realm, that rating. But I do think Ellen Taylor, all the actors assign, and they said it's more, reminiscent of T2, which is what I want to hear. So I'm on board, and I like this new tidbit from Cameron.
I need to know what kind of racehorse steroids Schwarzenegger must be on, because when he was in Sabotage, and you won't often hear me talk about Sabotage, but that one scene in Sabotage when he's in the gym in his muscle shirt just working out and you realize this is a 66-year-old guy. Yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah. It's just, anyway, what's next?
With his new film Fury #1 at the box office right now, director David Ayer sat down with Empire Online to give a few thoughts on his upcoming DC supervillain film, Suicide Squad. Ayer said the following: "Fury whetted my appetite for a bigger canvas and this idea of world creation. You can do amazing things as a filmmaker if you have the proper tools, and those are time and money. I can say that it's a dirty dozen with supervillains." Then I asked the question, does a movie really need good guys? Amy Rose, do Ayer's comments excite you?
Oh, hell yes, they do. That is very exciting. Dirty Dozen with supervillains. I love this. I really liked Fury. I thought it was a very predictable story, but I loved his direction, and I think he's just a really solid director, especially to tackle this. Coming from End of Watch, I've really enjoyed watching his evolution, and I think this is a really just exciting property to start after Batman v Superman, and you have to have Harley Quinn in there. I mean, I know we keep hearing back and forth, but I do think Margot Robbie would be a perfect for that, and I've loved everything I've been hearing about this. Will Smith, all the names that have been tossed, I think they have a really clear idea of this, and I think Ayer is like a very inspired director to bring this to life, especially after seeing Fury, because, you know, it was a war movie, but the character moments between those guys are really what made it real. Before, you know, in between the fighting and action, it was real. And I think that he's gonna bring a really cool dimension to this supervillain troupe. I cannot wait to see on the big screen.
Seeing what he did with the characters in Fury is what really makes my imagination pop to life, thinking about what you could do with Suicide Squad. Because when you see how distinct all these guys were, who were all suffering from some kind of war fatigue at the same time, yet they were all so distinct, and the camaraderie, yet angst between them all. I was watching that film thinking, you do this in a Suicide Squad, that's going to work. The one thing, however, that he says in this comment that I'm not buying is this whole thing is like, hey, you don't need good guys in a superhero movie. You know what? We've been promised that bill of goods from various very good movies for a long time, but it's always the same thing. They say this is a movie about the bad guy, whether, you know, it's Despicable Me, or whether it's Maleficent, or whether it's something else. They say, oh, this is a movie about the villain, except that they end up being the good guy by the end. Right. I will be shocked, pleasantly shocked, if they actually get through Suicide Squad and they are all villains, and by the end of the film, villains. But there's going to be heroic redemptions, and there's going to be all that kind of stuff. I hope I'm wrong, but for now, I'm not buying those comments. Anyway.
I'm okay if it's like a heroic redemption-ish, like kind of Usual Suspect style. Because those aren't really good guys, you know. And
it's true.
And to watch a movie, and granted, it's not a comic book film, but to watch a movie like that, to watch them go down that path, and you know, see that they're kind of all have to work together. This Dirty Dozen analogy was great. I'm curious, and like you, John, I hope that they end it with, I don't mind them if they have to do a couple good things in order to get the job done.
Right.
But I don't want their personalities and characters to show that, like, as like you mentioned with Maleficent and those other movies, they changed the character.
The untold story.
Yeah, because the characters become different, and their overall arc and what makes them who they are were also now good guys. I don't mind if they do good things. I just want them to be bad guys.
Yeah, and let me clarify, I'm glad you said that. It's not that I'll have a problem with it if these are redeemable characters that, you know, that go out and they do some selfless things. I don't mind that.
Right.
Just don't tell me going into it, this is the story about the bad guys, when they're really all not all
Guardians
that bad.
were outlaws. They weren't villains, but they were outlaws and
these
not
are
good.
bad guys.
And these are bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but that worked as well because they did some bad things, but obviously had those redeeming moments. And this would be taking it a step even further. And I think we're hungry for it. I mean, from the villain's perspective is really intriguing to me. And I mean, this troop, yeah, you're right. Redeeming moments is okay because even really bad guys can have those moments, but I want to see it go bad.
It's a risk. And listen, this is a big risk if they do that, because we don't have normally, it would change storytelling in a lot of ways too, because eventually if this works and it is just villains, then more villain stories can be told, because they're talking about Sinister Six and all that stuff, and I eventually want to see a Darth Bane movie to see that happen, so all that stuff would be very exciting.
The villain's the best part of the story usually, so I want it.
But just to highlight, I think after seeing, if you haven't seen Fury and you're a DC Comics fan and you're looking forward to Suicide Squad, go see Fury, take in the atmosphere and the character development and the narrative path that Ayer does, and tell me you didn't get double excited for Suicide Squad. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
It's just been announced that Eli Roth will executive produce a remake of his 2002 horror film Cabin Fever. What is unique about this remake is that it will actually use the exact same script that Roth used in 2002. Christian, buy or sell a Cabin Fever remake using the original script?
I sell it. It's like, what's the point? I don't understand. I just don't understand the point. It's like he wants to do it over again. Why doesn't he just direct it and say, you know, hey, I didn't like the way I originally did this, which I thought the original one was like a fun guilty pleasure, and it's actually a fun little horror film. I don't understand the need to do it, especially doing the same exact script. Continuations are one thing, and spinning it off and doing the direct-to-DVDs, all that stuff is fine, but to do the same exact script, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I sell it, and I love horror film, and I think Eli Roth is really good in this genre, but I don't understand either. It's just like if you, twisted it up, sequel, reboot, whatever you're doing, but to use the same exact script, I mean, I guess it's really challenging as a director, writer to do that, but I still don't understand. In 12 years, 14 years, unless it's like 20 territory, I don't really understand the need either. It's not like this reinvented the genre so much. It's like Halloween, is done in different shades, and I can respect that because it's an amazing classic story, but no, I just don't want it.
You know, oddly enough, I'm going to sell this too, and I'm the guy I'm all for remakes. I really am. I'm all, and there's a couple of interesting things about this. Number one, it will be very interesting, I think fascinating actually, to sit back and watch a movie based on the exact same script with two different directors and see how different of a film they end up being. That's kind of fascinating. The original film, you're right. It's a fun little horror film. It's pretty cool. And it's one of those films that might benefit from a new retelling on a larger scale. Maybe, I don't know. But no, I still sell. I mean, it's only like 13 years old. Doing it again on the same script, well, give us a new rendition.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't always work too. What was the movie that Michael Pitt did recently? It was a remake. Oh man, it was a horror film also, and it was basically they're pretending that there are other people, and they infiltrate this family, and Naomi Watts is in it, and they just
Funny Games.
Funny Games. So Funny Games is a remake by the same director, same writer, shot for shot, the same movie. And it didn't do necessarily well over here, and didn't really, I didn't understand why that. I enjoyed, I had never seen the other one too, so maybe that's it, is maybe reintroducing it again and getting the word out again. But
All right, what's next?
Those of you who have been waiting for The Conjuring 2 to hit theaters on October 23rd, 2015, will have to wait a little while longer. Warner Brothers has announced that they are pushing the film back to an unspecified date in 2016 and will instead use the October 23rd date for another yet unidentified horror film. John, do you buy or sell pushing The Conjuring 2 back to 2016?
No, I don't. I sell this. Not just because I really like The Conjuring and I'm looking forward to The Conjuring 2 and now I gotta wait longer. No. It was Halloween season. This was a great time. It was October. I don't understand the mentality. The only thing I can think of is that they want to do another Conjuring spin-off film to build up to The Conjuring 2, and they're going to drop that on that October 23rd date. And apparently they can spit out these movies in about 3.5 months. So it's not, the timetable isn't the problem here. But no, I was looking forward to it in the Halloween season. This was perfect. You're building off the momentum of the original that has great word of mouth. Like I said, we don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes there. Maybe there's a really, really good explanation for this that we don't know yet. But just based on the information we have, for me, it's a sell.
Yeah, it's a sell as well for me. I'm disappointed. I did like The Conjuring a lot. And, I mean, it does. We don't know too many details yet, but the first thing exactly comes to mind. It feels like a money grab. It feels like they're going to try to expand the universe. Why not throw The Conjuring there and then expand it afterwards? That doesn't need to be that way. And whenever something's pushed, you always immediately, there's a red flag. Like, why was it pushed? Were there disputes? Is it not good? Is it this? But this feels like a money grab. So either way, I hope we find more details. I hope there's a real credible reason, but I don't like it. I was looking forward to it.
Christian?
I think I'd buy it, and I'll tell you, like, so just to be clear, they haven't started shooting anything on it yet, right? Correct? Nothing.
I thought they had, but I don't know.
sure.
I'm not willing to say for certain.
Yeah.
Because if they have started shooting on it, and they have a lot of stuff done, then I agree with you that being pushed is red flag.
Yeah.
If they haven't, then it means let's wait. Let's push back. Because to be honest, you guys know I'm not the biggest horror fan a lot of the times. Conjuring was one of my favorite horror films in a very long time. I liked the way it was done. I thought what the Hayes brothers, who wrote the film, did, put a lot of effort into it. To hear how they developed all this stuff, I want to see that kind of effort put into the sequel. So if the effort is put into it and it pushes it back, then I'm okay to wait for it. But if it comes down to that they have shot it and they don't like what they want and they want to push it and then start, just putting out new stuff, like more spin-off films, then yeah, I would sell it. But for now, I'm going to say they didn't shoot anything, and I'm going to buy it.
I agree. If they didn't shoot it, I feel like it's less of a cop-out than if they're just like rearranging it. I'm not sure.
Even if they haven't started shooting, I still sell this. I mean, there's no reason not to do it. Anyway, I guess we won't really know until we know some more facts.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Actor Sean Bean has just been added to the cast of the upcoming Ridley Scott film, The Martian. Bean will play a NASA flight director of Matt Damon's doomed mission. The film also stars Jeff Daniels, Kate Mara, Michael Pena, Kristen Wiig, and Jessica Chastain. Amy Rose, buy or sell Sean Bean joining The Martian?
Long live the Starks, baby. I love this actor. I think he's fantastic. This lineup is looking great. I still have faith in the director. All elements are intact. I'm looking forward to this. But Sean Bean, I mean, he is a very talented guy. I want him to get more projects, hopefully like this, that really allows him to shine, because he's got the talent.
He just got his own show, too. I forget on what network. I think it's called Legend. or something like that. Anyway, he just got his own show. Look, all the way back to when he was a Bond villain, and he was one of the better Bond villains, I think. Like really cool,
right?
former 00 agent. But I've loved him since that. And yeah, Stark. He's Boromir.
Yeah,
all right,
he
he's Boromir. I mean, I love this. There's something about him. There's a power he brings to the screen. Whether it's in Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or anything he pops up in. When he comes on screen, he owns the screen.
Epic.
I just love this guy, his voice, the way he talks, the way he moves. I think he's terrific. So for me, it's a buy.
I'd buy this guy co-hosting The View. I'd buy him. He's the best. I love. Let's just hope. Don't die this time. He's
always dying.
Stop
Spoiler
dying.
alert.
Well, in any movie that you watch, he's going to die. So it's not really a spoiler alert. So it's like he just dies too much. But other than that, he's a fantastic actor. I love to have him in here. He adds, like you said, just such a power about him. You notice him the second he's on screen. And to add what they're doing so far, The Martian is starting to become something I'm looking forward to seeing very much.
He dies really well, though.
He does.
The weird thing is, the only thing I'm a little bit nervous about The Martian, and
I know
if I had said this 5 years ago, I never would have believed it, is that Ridley Scott's directing it. Who would have thought we'd get to the point that I feel that way? But come on, Ridley, it's redemption time.
Wheelhouse, though. That's his
but
wheelhouse.
I think Matt Damon is going to help that as well.
I
too,
agree.
Because Matt Damon is as great of a producer as he is an actor too, and he's come to a point now with Power. What he's able to do is he's able to not just be an actor, he's able to collaborate, and I think that it's going to help tremendously.
And Chastain?
Chastain,
Yeah.
Sean Bean, Matt Damon, Kristen Wiig, Michael Pena.
Come on.
I mean, Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, diverse group of bunch.
This is going to be really cool. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to save a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take some of your live questions as well. So if you're watching us live, you can start tweeting in questions to us at AMC Movie News, and Sinead will pick out a couple at the end of the show. But for now, let's get to the mailbag questions. So, Sinead, what do we got?
James Walsh writes, "Hello AMC, and thank you for taking time to read my question. I was wondering how significant it is that DC has announced before Marvel the first African-American lead superhero film, Cyborg, and the first female lead superhero film, Wonder Woman. Do you think this will make Marvel announce a Black Panther and Miss Marvel movies in the near future?"
Well, there's a couple of dimensions to this. Number one, I think long before DC announced Wonder Woman and Cyborg, let's remember Cyborg doesn't even have a date yet. But long before that, I believe Kevin Feige and Marvel have Black Panther and Captain Marvel on their radar. I think they have some plans for them. Now, they haven't announced anything official yet, but I think they've already had their plans for them. So I don't think DC announcing anything is going to change any of Marvel's plans. The other thing we got to keep in mind here, too, is this. I know for a lot of us, superhero movies began with X-Men, but there have been female-led superhero movies. Elektra, Catwoman,
Superman,
Supergirl, Aeon Flux. So there have been a bunch of female superhero. There have been black-led superhero films. Catwoman once again, and I will always say Black Dynamite. Damn it. Spawn was another good one. Yes, Spawn is a great one. So those films have existed. So these aren't the first black-led superhero film, not the first female-led superhero film. However, that being said, in this new Marvel age, if you want to call it, of movies, it is the first new generation of them. And in and of itself, that is significant. A Wonder Woman was going to come eventually. That was a brain-dead thing. Cyborg is interesting that they're doing that. I always thought DC would either lead with Cyborg or a Jon Stewart Green Lantern. So it's interesting that they're doing Cyborg. So is there significance there? Yes. But it's not the monumental significance because we have had them before, and I don't think it's going to change Marvel's plan because I think Marvel already had their drawing board. Anyway, Christian, how do you see it?
They're going to announce those movies, but they're going to do it at their time when they want to do it.
Yeah.
They've already teased Black Panther, I believe, in a movie. Just kinda,
some of the chat was already saying is reminding us Blade too.
Blade
Blade as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So I forget which movie. It might have been the first Iron Man. They kind of did a little Easter egg to Black Panther. So they've been teasing that for a little bit. And as far as Ms. Marvel, if you believe rumors, she might pop up in a future a mention of her or something, the way they did for Strange in Captain America 2. So they'll do it when they do it. I just hope that they have the actors and stuff in mind. I'm still pitching for Ejiofor as Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to see Katie Sackhoff as Ms. Marvel.
Well, Ejiofor can do anything.
Yeah.
He really can. Marvel is not threatened by anything right now. They
No.
released these films. They're moving on along their phases. I mean, it's hit after hit. Even the obscure obscure property with Guardians was a ridiculous success. So they're not feeling threatened. But yes, it's damn time for a Black Panther movie. I would love to see Ejiofor. I mean, he can do anything, but I just feel like he would own that. And I want Emily Blunt for Miss Marvel. I think she would be fantastic in that role as well. We know she's a badass and she's got the chops as well. But yeah, I mean, they don't feel threatened. Right now, these are just dates, and we're hearing that. But I am really proud of them for getting, Cyborg motion and just like really diversifying it up. I mean, it's about damn time, so I hope it continues.
Yeah, and the whole thing about whether they're threatened, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think DC's threatened by Marvel. I don't think Marvel's threatened by DC. Why? Because I'll just go back to this all the time. What gets, as me as a film fan, what gets me most excited about going back to the movie theater is if the last movie I saw was real good.
Yeah.
Like, seeing a good movie makes me more excited about going back to the movie theater again.
Right.
You gotta believe that Marvel is actually hoping Batman v Superman is all kinds of awesome, because then people are gonna have an amazing experience at the movies watching a comic book based movie, and what's the next big one coming out? It's a Marvel one. Great! And that's just going to help them, and vice versa. I really think it will.
I think more so that DC is probably happy when Marvel movies do well, because it helps them get the word out in the superhero movies.
It's fertilizing the soil.
It does.
But Marvel doesn't
and
need
DC,
help.
I don't think Marvel right now, unless they're just fans of the genre in general, and you have those guys that I want to see a Batman Superman movie, but they're and they go and see it. But I don't think that they don't need it as much as like DC does need the genre. It's like the old school WCW versus WWF. It's like where it's just the way these companies are battling, but competition breeds better products.
But in WCW versus WWF, for a short time though, they were airing on the same night on the same time, so an audience member had to choose one or the other. Right. The nice thing about this is
we get it all.
Yeah, if Batman v Superman is amazing, that's not going to take $1 away from Marvel and how much money their next movie, it will do nothing but help.
Especially now that they moved it away from Captain America.
Yes, exactly. All right, what's next in the mailbag?
Gregory Seifert writes, question for you. I know how much you all love and breathe Star Wars, especially John and Christian. Are you planning on making the trip to Star Wars Celebration this year? Especially since it's not far from where you are in Anaheim, California. I'm coming from Minnesota and I would love to see all of you there. I'm also wondering, what do you think might get revealed during the convention? Keep up the great work and may the Force be with you.
Yes, Christian and I are going to make the long journey to Anaheim. Get a shot here, Christian's shirt too. That's a great crossover shirt.
Is this in a Star Trek shirt?
Awkward.
Yeah.
I remember the first Star Wars celebrations I went to was in Indianapolis. That was the first one I went to a long time ago. So much fun. I was really excited to hear this is going to be happening in Anaheim. And actually, Christian and I have already been talking. Yeah, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Are you going to cosplay though? Because otherwise, rookie.
If I'm going, I'm going as a Sith. I'll tell you that right now. I need to dress up. I got to get myself.
I already have my Leia costume, so that's easy.
I'm pretty sure I'll go as a Jawa.
That's amazing.
I think I'll go as a Jawa and just never take my mask off. But yeah, so what are they going to announce there? I don't know. It's still a ways away. Like when is Celebrations again?
I think it's like April.
I was just saying March or April, right?
Yeah.
I got a feeling maybe they drop a new trailer. Maybe the first official trailer.
I think we're gonna get it. I hope we're getting a teaser, the one that we've talked about in this show in December. I hope that just something, because that's a year away.
And like a title.
Title is what I think we might get.
Yeah.
A title is possible what we might get because even if they do a teaser in December, you could just put episode 7 on the teaser and be fine with it. But
fans will freak out.
Right. But I think a title is possible. I also think some information about the spin-off movie, because at that point, the spin-off movie will be just about a year and a half away. And when episode 7 was a year and a half away, we still had a cast. We had a cast revealed, we had the director revealed, we had all that stuff. We have nothing about any spin-off movies. I think you'll know some stuff about the spin-off movies by that point.
Yeah, there's a reason they didn't reveal anything at Comic-Con. It's not like this is new in the works. This has been in the works for a long time. So there's a reason the diehard fans there in all their glory. I mean, something good's going to come out of it for sure.
The other thing is too, that Comic-Con this year in San Diego, you and I had speculated about what was going to happen there. Was there going to be title? And it was very clear that it was all about Rebels. They wanted to push Rebels.
Yeah.
They pushed Rebels, and Rebels did really well. And not just because of Comic-Con, the way that they marketed it. It's strategic. They're going to do it on purpose. They're going to maybe that celebration, and they're going to promote their own event. So whatever they're going to do is going to be strategic, and it's going to play into the next wave.
Agreed. All right, well, I said we were going to save a couple of minutes at the end of the show, take some of your live questions, and we're going to do that right now. You might even have time to sneak one or two in. Tweet to us at AMC Movie News, and maybe your question will get on. Right now, Sinead's over there. She's the gatekeeper. So, Sinead, what have you picked out?
At Martin David, Jay wants to know, is it possible that DC originally announced 2015 for Batman vs. Superman as a way to see Marvel's response and then adjusted accordingly?
No, I don't. I actually think there's more communication that goes on between Marvel and DC than we think. It's not like they're two warring factions on each side of the lake just firing cannonballs over at each other. They have phones and they probably talk, and they look. They both want to do well, and I really don't think they're going to hurt each other. So I don't think this intrigue game of cat and mouse is. I think there's some of it there, but I don't think it's deep. So no, DC didn't make a fool of themselves, and they did make a fool of themselves. They didn't go out and make a fool of themselves by announcing a 2015 release date for Batman and Superman at Comic-Con and make a big hubbub about it, only to have to go, oh, we were just kidding, just so they could see what Marvel would do, because Marvel isn't going to react. Amy Rose is pointing this out. Marvel isn't going to react to anybody or anything. They're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. So it would have been pointless anyway, even if they did. But so no, DC's smarter than that.
You killed my dream of imagining cannons being thrown over. I
Batman symbol on one of them.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we've addressed this. I mean, they're both, again, now DC, we're stoked, is having a plan and they're mapping it out. But no, their intention is to give fans that property and to do it justice. So no, I mean, there's a rivalry to fans more than the studios in that sense.
That's a great point.
But also, I mean, the goal is to give us an amazing film-going experience that, pleases both sides of the spectrum. So no, I don't.
I like the thing you just raised, like the best point. The rivalry is really amongst the fans, not amongst the companies. Because as the fans sit there, DC fanboys, Marvel fanboys, battling it out. Meanwhile, Kevin Feige and Kevin Tsujihara are sitting back in leather recliners with their arms around each other going, cha-ching! I mean, that's all they're doing when they see the war going on.
At this point,
it's a gold recliners, yeah.
I agree. Go rent Sabotage on Blu-ray.
I had to. I'm so happy.
I just like the Sabotage throwback. Yeah. Okay, what else do we got?
At DV Truman asks, I love Star Trek and Star Wars and JJ, but lens flares were distracting in Star Trek. Should I be afraid of lens flares in Episode 7?
You know what? From a pragmatic filmmaking point of view, lens flares are very handy because not only can they add an interesting visual effect when used in moderation and used right, you can use lens flares to cover up mistakes. You can use lens flares to do some really creative scene transitions. There's actually a number, and it felt like JJ, and JJ's he'll talk about this more than anybody else. He got hooked on lens flares, but it's not like you see that in all of his films and stuff like that. And I don't think you're going to see Star Wars, listen, like, maybe the reason JJ took this movie was because he just pictures, can you imagine the lens flares we can do when lightsabers hit each other? But I don't think he'll overdo it.
Listen, I just know, my wife has hung up a picture in the house, been there for about a year. I just noticed it the other day. So I never notice these things anyway. When like the lens flares, when they're out there, I go, like people have pointed them out. I don't even notice it. I know a lot of people do, and I think that people have made a bigger hubbub about it, if you will, because it's lens flares, J.J. Abrams, lens flares, and he's aware of it. He knows the joke. He's asked about it all the time, too. If he does it, is it going to take away from the story and the fact that we're getting Star Wars back? No. People need to get over the lens flares. Get over the lens flares.
I'm not even that distracted by it, so I don't know why it bothers people so much. And yeah, sometimes it can really enhance a scene, but it has become his kind of signature. But it's not like he's it's a cop-out because he's an incredible director. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me as well.
When you do go back and watch that first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, though, I gotta admit, it becomes pretty noticeable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say distracting. I wouldn't say distracting, though, but it becomes...
But if you're looking for it,
that is very noticeable. All right.
We could turn a drinking game into lens flares, I guess, right?
What's next?
Just to say I didn't.
At The Exported Film asks, why do you think there hasn't been a sequel to the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake yet? Good or bad, it made a lot of money.
I'm not so sure how much money it made. You guys can comment. I'm going to pull up the box office numbers. You guys.
I just probably because I think after it came out, the reaction from everybody was so bad. I mean, look, another movie that made a lot of money and didn't have a sequel was the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. That movie made a lot of money, and it had such bad feedback afterwards that sometimes they go, well, a sequel might not do well. Another movie that I think did okay was the Friday the 13th. Michael Bay produced remake that did okay, and people were like, same thing. I don't need to see that again. So they we got off good here, made some money on the first one. Let's cash in our chips and get lost. So
it all depends on. Do you have the figure up?
Yeah, and it did make some money.
Yeah.
It made worldwide. It made 115 million on a $35 million budget. So
Yeah,
even when you
it's a
take into
success.
consideration P&A costs and subtract the 30% that theaters keep, it's still profitable.
Right.
Didn't make it any better of a movie, but it was still profitable.
and that's
You
what I mean.
can see it in
Yeah.
both directions. I mean, it all depends on the slate and what the studio is banking on. Some really bad movies get sequels, some really good movies don't. So I don't think there's like such a black and white formula to it. It really depends on what they're banking on. I mean, if that universe is all they had, that studio, then I think we'd probably see it. But that movie was not good, dude.
No, it just wasn't. And despite the fact that they got an incredible actor for it, I think really the bigger thing is not just the finances. It was that audiences came out of Nightmare on Elm Street not caring.
Right.
Yeah.
If it had only made $115 million, but the people who saw it were passionate about it, there's something to build on sequel. But people came out of that movie not liking it. It got a 15% critic rating and a 45% audience rating, and audience ratings always lean much higher.
Yeah.
And it was under 50%. So that makes a studio sit back and go, is it worth the investment to make another one?
Hell no.
Probably not.
Something else. I mean, as far as I just thought about something before with The Conjuring. That is, it was James Wan. By the way, I know this is completely. Where did this come from? But James Wan, who's working on the Fast and Furious movie now as well too, has said that this has been very exhausting for him in general. Like he's happy that he's making it, but it's the hardest film he's had to make. He might have needed a break. He might have needed a pushback.
But I don't think he's directing.
Is he not doing Conjuring
I don't
2?
think he's directing Conjuring 2.
Well, then I'm sorry I brought that up again.
All right, let's take one more. Let's take one more from the Twitter sphere.
At Kenneth Colton says, Dumb and Dumber 2 is only a few weeks away, and it seems like it has completely fell off everyone's radar. Why do you think that this is?
Okay, the genius of that question is the fact that I didn't even realize it was only a couple weeks away. You're right. I mean, originally I was so excited for Dumb and Dumber 2, especially with how good. Finally, people when the first Dumb and Dumber came out, it was all about Jim Carrey leading up to it because nobody really knew Jeff Daniels all that much. Jeff Daniels is now recognized as a huge talent in and of himself. And so I was excited about it, and I was hyping it, and I couldn't wait for the first trailer. And then the first trailer came, and for me personally, it was wah, wah. Yeah. Like, it started off strong to me, the first trailer, and then it just got weak after that, and it kind of fell off my radar. And they haven't really showed us anything else new to keep any kind of momentum going. Maybe they've got like a last week or 2 week big marketing push plan.
I don't think so.
But I gotta tell you, I'm gonna
agree.
go see it opening night.
Yeah.
But I'm nowhere near as excited about this movie as I was, a few months ago.
When we first saw that set picture of the two of them in their gear, and I was like, yes!
Yeah, it felt
and like
so good.
even the title, T.O., I mean, it's just, there's so many clever components. But that trailer, I was just like, eh. Yeah. And I just feel like, the Farley Bros, hit or miss, whatever, but...
Hit or miss, they've been missing for a long time.
I know, but there were a couple early on in their career that were great. This is one of them included. And like, I feel like it was just long enough where it could have worked, but if, the point of marketing materials is to really excite your audience, and if those aren't doing the trick, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have a bad film, but they usually put the funniest moments in those trailers. I think I got like one chuckle. So it's not to say I love being incorrect when I go into a film, like Ouija. I thought it was gonna be the dumbest film ever. I talked about it on here, and it actually got some good scares out of me. I love when the filmmaker has some surprises up their sleeve. So maybe they do, but up to this point, I'm with you. Nothing has really excited me about it. So I hope they prove me wrong.
I'm with you in regards to as level of excitement, because it's the same thing with the trailer, but I think that we're gonna get a bigger marketing push in the next week or two. I've even seen
They need it.
Even driving around here, they have that dog vehicle that's driving around. I think that you're going to see more and more as the release comes in. You'll see the actors will do more press about it too. I just hope that it's just not like a desperate attempt, and I hope that it's a return to promise.
I want to see the dog vehicle.
Yeah, I haven't seen the dog vehicle. I want to see that too. All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or at the gym or wherever you are at the time. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button and write a comment. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that fun stuff. I want to thank, first of all, the people sitting at the table with me, of course, our senior editor of Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach, who is also about to shoot the next episode of AMC Indie Spotlights, which you should check out. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
On Twitter and Instagram at Amy Rosie. Thanks.
Of course, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
At Twitter, Jedi Council coming back. No Star Wars questions. Keep them coming back. And at Instagram, I'm force choking some people out there, so come check that out.
Hey, you know what? I'm really glad you mentioned that. Just for kicks, I launched our AMC Movie News crew Instagram account today, where all of us, everybody on the crew has access to. We're all going to be posting pictures on it. Find us on Instagram if you're an Instagram user. Our handle on there is all one word, AMC Movie News. So find us on there and make sure you start following us. And of course, I want to thank our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can find me on all the various social media outlets just at John Campea. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. My name is John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.